What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Radiovania After Dark, episode number 2, your nerdy public radio for all things entertainment and pop culture. We do things a little bit differently around here in the late night shows. Normally, we talk to you about the news, the nerdy stuff that you need to know about, the happenings in Hollywood and around the globe. But tonight, we're just going to hang out, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite things. I'm your host, Zach Ratello, at Zach Ratello on Twitter, and sitting next to me is my right-hand man, John Parker.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing, man?
Good.
You're wearing your Batman shirt. Weren't you wearing the Batman shirt on the first After Dark, too?
Probably.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I like
Did you plan that?
No.
Oh, it's kismet.
I only wear Batman shirts.
Oh, yeah. Do you have, you bought the Batman underwear for that, for the premiere, right? Wasn't that one of you?
No, I didn't get
that. Wasn't one of you?
Yeah.
I bought Batman underwear for the premiere.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That sultry voice to my left is Connor Kemp. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Doing great. It's good to have you back on the show. I was worried we might not get to do it before you left for the big city and leave us country folk behind. And across from me is the sexy voice and appearance of Michael Richard.
What's going on, guys? Good to be here, Zach.
Oh, wow, that's sexy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got, of all the radio voices, it goes best, then worst.
No.
That's not true.
Michael's got a good voice. He's got get that radio presence.
Good singing voice.
So tonight we're going to talk about some great things. We're each going to bring a topic to the table, and we'll see if we all end up bringing one. But we'll start off with me. I want to know future predictions. So right now it is what's the date? May 20th.
Yep.
May 20th, 2016. A lot of stuff's been happening this year in terms of political nonsense, in terms of the election. Lots of things have been going on in terms of like economic, turmoil in the United States. You got foreign countries, you got ISIS, you got terrorist groups and all this stuff. At the same time, though, we've got great movies coming out, like those are not related, but we got like Marvel. The Civil War just came out, and there's going to be a new Star Wars movie every year for the next 3 years, and it's a thing. But I want to know, in your guys' minds, what are like, in the next 10 or 15 years, keep it at like 10 or 15, what do you see being some of the bigger events in pop culture or politics or world news? Like, when we open up the calendar in, 2026, we open up our news app, we open up Twitter, if we're still using Twitter, what are we going to see when we pop up in the headlines, Like, what are some of the things that are going to hit you? What are the biggest newses of that year? Does anybody have anything right off the tip of their tongues?
Well, let's look at one that I think is really glaring right now, and that is a year from now, not even 6 months, the election.
Yeah, obviously that's the first one that I think about.
Yep.
Everyone's got their thoughts, everyone's got their political views and their leanings or whatever, but like in terms of like winnings, I mean,
exactly.
I have a feeling that it's Trump.
I feel the same way. I think, yeah. I mean, at this point, we can see that Hillary is going to pull it out ahead of Bernie.
There's no question about that. I mean,
yeah.
Bernie, he's lacking the delegates, and that's
the burn.
Yeah, I love it. I love him. Great guy. Speaks his mind, and so does Trump. But unfortunately, they're both kind of speaking quite opposite ends of that spectrum.
Yep.
That is going to be one of mine. That was one of mine that I was going to lead off with. Is that. I do see Trump winning the election, and one of my future predictions, farther than that, is I think the next 4 years are going to be rough if that happens.
Yeah.
And I think that, the people that voted for Trump are certainly going to be, I think largely supportive of him in his campaign, but I really do think that after that it's going to kind of be like a renaissance of political consciousness in the United States. I want to think that. I think that's like a prediction, is that like it's going to be the next, because regardless, Hillary versus Trump, a person I listened to on a podcast made a really salient point and said, either way, I can't see either of these people like holding out for multiple terms.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree.
And that's the thing where it's like when they come to the end of their first term, I do think it's going to be one of those elections where the people are like, we fucked it up really bad the last time, and now we got to get out there and we got to be energized about this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal, but I don't know. I really do see, Connor and I like to have political discussions every now and then, but what do you think? I mean, do you think that Trump's the main? Trump's the main man?
We've talked about this a lot,
yeah.
And I really don't want to get on a rant.
No,
on
absolutely.
your
no.
podcast.
No. I mean, rant as much as you feel like you need to, but
man.
you just binary. Like, who do you think?
As far as who's going to win?
Yeah, not who you want to win.
I don't really want either one to win, to be completely honest with you.
Have you looked at the third
Yeah.
party people that have been kind of coming out?
I haven't really. The election's far enough away that I haven't spent a ton of time looking into stuff like that. But, the whole time during the primary, I really thought that Trump wouldn't win.
No, me neither.
And he kept winning. And I don't know a single person who voted for him, but somehow he keeps winning. So I think, honestly, he might surprise everybody in the general election. And a big part of his campaign has been the silent majority. And I feel like the silent majority might actually decide to vote for him, which is kind of terrifying.
It is.
But if I had to pick somebody to win just based on how things are going right now, I would pick Donald Trump. I mean, we'll see once debates start, because once you give Hillary Clinton a chance to really attack his policies, that might sway a lot of rational people.
I mean,
but I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta, usually with politics, I would say that when it comes down to the time when you have to duke it out, you're at the last lap, you see the finish line in hand. I think it's kind of obnoxious when people like to target personalities and personal lives and stuff like that in terms of politics. But I think with Donald Trump, that's the way you bring him down, because the way that a lot of his policies are actually fairly sound. He's pretty moderate in terms of most of the stuff.
It's
that he
definitely
talks about.
who he is that people don't like. It's not the way that he would be a leader.
Yeah,
it's his personal It's just like him. It's Donald Trump that people don't like.
It's his racism. It's his bigotry. It's his sort of, I'm taking charge sort of attitude.
You wouldn't be able to control if he said anything.
No. And that's why his attack ads towards Hillary Clinton are going to be incredible. And I'm not saying I don't have a huge problem with Hillary Clinton. I think people saying she's she's the most unjust politician and all of whatever it is, and it's just I don't know if I think that you could find politicians way worse, like Frank Underwood, but I do think that the attack ads are going to be brutal. I think that it's going to be no holds bar. Let's go into every single thing. I honestly think that they'll bring up Monica Lewinsky.
Absolutely.
Can you see that?
Absolutely.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to fade from black onto Donald Trump on the TV screen between Law and Order, and he's going to be like, Monica Lewinsky. And then it's sponsored by Politicians for Trump 2016, and then the ad ends. But I don't know. What are you guys thinking, John? You got anything?
I would have to agree. I think at this point it's hard to not bet on the winning horse. As much as it's kind of just strange how it all unfolded. But
conventional wisdom's out the window.
Yeah,
nobody could have predicted this. Honestly,
no. It's at this point, it's like watching a fictional TV show. And I think even if you strongly support one of the candidates, you can look at this election and it's different than anything we've recently seen.
No,
the sense of rationality that usually comes with people running to be the leader of our country really isn't there that I see from either party, in my opinion.
No, it's a lot of personal beef. Yep. It's a lot of binary, and that's that is my problem with politics. Is that right now in our current political state there is no room for gray area.
Yep,
and that
you're one or the other. Absolutely,
kind of bothers me.
And I think going along with the future thing, I think that's gonna see a big change in 10 years. It has to because
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to realize that it can't just be black and white. We're going to start a war with ourselves as far as opinions go. We're already seeing it more and more. So hopefully there starts to become a little bit of a gray area.
Yeah. And I do think that going along with my future prediction of Trump winning and there being an overhaul in the sort of political consciousness in America, I really do think that the Trump winning is the reformation of the GOP.
Oh, yeah.
Because, the way that it is right now, you see it's like the Republicans pretty much hate most of their candidates.
Yeah.
And
there wasn't overwhelming support from the party itself that you saw.
And it's so divided. There's the economic conservatives that people like to fall behind, and then there's the evangelicals like Cruz, where people like to just, and Connor just finished his list for the second topic. Spoilers. You doing good? I'm not going to look at it because I want to be surprised.
I'm not 100% certain. There might be things that I left out of the list, but it's solid. It's solid.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, that was a good introduction.
Excited when I got finished.
Anybody else? Somebody hit me with a future prediction. What do you think's going to happen in the next 10 years? Yeah, Connor, hit it.
Okay, so there's this thing right now. I've just seen like YouTube videos of it, but it's Microsoft HoloLens.
Yeah, the VR trends.
I think in the next 10 to 15 years, that's totally going to be a thing. Like something kind of like Google Glass, where there's glasses that you wear just all the time or something like that, but it projects your calendar or a TV screen or something like that around the room. Very like...
Be like Cookie from That's Classified.
Kind of. I'm thinking more like Jarvis in Iron Man, where there's a touchscreen just kind of in the room, and Tony Stark is just like moving stuff around, and it's just kind of like projected. But in this case, it wouldn't be projected where everybody can see it. It would be where you can see it because of the glasses you're wearing. But based on the YouTube videos I've seen, in 10 years, that's definitely going to be a thing. And if it is, I want it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seriously debating whether or not I want to get PlayStation VRs, because they just came out and announced... at GDC, I think it was, PlayStation came on stage and everyone was like, the Oculus Rift is $600 and you have to buy a $1,200 PC to rig this thing, and it's going to be really high def. And then the HTC Vive, it's $800 and you need an even higher end PC to run it. And then PlayStation VR is like $399. All you need to run it's a PlayStation 4 and you need the headset. And I was like, maybe I do want to jump on board, because like I think about games that would be awesome in VR and like the gaming experiences that I like, and they announced that every PlayStation 4 game, every game on the PlayStation 4 is playable in VR in cinema mode, where it looks like you're sitting in a theater in front of a giant TV screen, and you just get to play all your favorite games.
Oh man!
And that idea is exciting to me. Microsoft is doing HoloLens, which is augmented reality, which I think is.
I think that's even cooler than VR. It's almost like a heads-up display that goes around with you.
Yeah,
I think
that can alter a lot.
Like you're driving your car, you no longer need to look at the gauges. The glasses you're wearing could interact with the computer in your car, and you could see on your windshield how fast you're going, what the weather is like, whether or not another car is coming, if cars can communicate. Yeah. I think something like that could be really cool.
Someone, I can't remember if it's Apple or not, there was a patent that got leaked, and it was the Apple Watch, except for there was and this could be just totally...
Earthquake.
Jesus. There was a patent released, and this could totally be just bullshit, but there was a patent that there's an Apple Watch with a little slit on the side, right, and it projects a keyboard onto your hand, and that's how you type. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it's like, that's just such a baby step to like the whole Jarvis thing, where he's like pinching and zooming and throwing stuff and like making cities out of them thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Along with what you were saying, I think self-driving cars are going to be big in the next 10 years.
That's a good one too.
They might not be public yet, but I do think that we're going to start, because you already see like Google making significant moves, and Tesla's working on that, right, too? Isn't that a thing? Isn't Elon Musk working on that?
I'm not sure. I know he's working on the whole electricity deal with cars, but I'm not sure about self-driving quite yet.
I think that'll be interesting when we can have self-driving Ubers, and we can, we don't have to worry about making small talk with the Uber driver. We can just, pay $15 and go downtown. That'll be nice.
It's true.
It'll be awesome. I've seen some videos online of what intersections would look like with self-driving cars. No red lights, no waits. The cars just miss each other, and it's perfect. And it would be so much. It would be so much faster to drive in a city.
Yeah,
I really hope that happens.
Yeah, me too. I think that self-driving cars are. I mean, I think it's a gold mine. And, Apple's working on one too, and it makes sense. The two most profitable companies, Google and Apple, are like, they're about to duke it out for like who has the best self-driving car, and ultimately it's going to come down to Chipotle versus Qdoba.
Yep.
I don't know. Anybody got anything else?
Maybe a shift in tourism, I think, might be a little bit of something to look forward to. With the opening of the Star Wars theme park at Disney, I think if that blows up and goes worldwide, whichever cities have those, it's going to get a huge economic boost.
They're planning on moving it to other cities?
No, I'm saying if it blows up the way it does, because they only have one plan right now, but it's going to be huge.
In Disney World?
At Disneyland, I think.
Disneyland?
Yeah. I'm not entirely
In California?
Sure. It might be at Disney World. They have more.
I feel like it has
way more land.
It would have
anyway, but the point is, like, I can see that going internationally and them having to do multiple of those. So
that'd be interesting.
Makes sense.
What do you think about? So we like to talk about movies a lot. What about entertainment news? Like entertainment predictions for the next 10 years?
I think it's just gonna keep being monopolized by superhero, Star Wars.
You don't think the trend dies out? You don't think we stop seeing superhero movies in the next 10 years?
After they finish their current run, they just reboot it like maybe 2 or 3 years afterwards.
But do you think that the interest dies after that? Because I think that's a huge problem is that Marvel has to look at is like what happens after we finish releasing all these popular movies. People start getting tired of them, and then we try to reboot it with the characters that they grew up loving.
I don't know.
That'll be interesting because we have the next 5-6 years planned with Marvel.
Probably
we
until
know
2020 or
they're going to
something
continue
like that.
with the Infinity War storyline.
Yeah, DC's working on that, so
Yeah, and so we'll
DC's
see.
already got.
DC's planned through 2022, so it's not even that much longer after that. But they've revealed more characters that at least DC has that they're bringing into the fold, and so they just don't have announcements yet. So that if it shifts to DC and stuff like that, I can see Marvel making a comeback eventually. It might just be a tag team. So instead
Crossover.
No. As in, sorry, not tag team. Like a game of tag where they're just taking turns.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe staggered a little bit, but
Yeah.
I can see that. I think it's just going to keep being the big summer thing and stuff for the next 10 years. I can't see that changing.
I see movie theaters starting to die off.
Yeah.
In the next 10 years because, people. We read the news story a few weeks ago about people like Peter Jackson and J.J. Abrams backing like a home movie streaming service where you can get the movies that come to theaters day and date digital. And so that starts killing away you start going to theaters. You only go for the big shows, like you go for the Jurassic Universe sequel.
Plus, the theaters are changing to those luxury style theaters now too.
Cinebistro.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I think theaters will become somewhat of a luxury now instead of just going to a sticky theater. And
it's like you want to go get. You want to go get. It's like dinner and a movie is literally going to be dinner and a movie in the background.
Yep. So I think
consolidate America.
Yeah, I think the change will take a long time because every time, I'll go to a theater on Wednesday, kind of late in the evening, and still it's packed. So I think it'll be a long change. We'll see people at theaters for quite a few more years, but slowly but surely it'll start to die out and go to that home movie system, the luxury theaters, things like that.
Because indie movies and stuff make consistently less and less money, and it's the bigger movies like Star Wars and Marvel, and whenever Pirates 5 comes out, they're going to make like boatloads of cash, but. Whatever, a lot of, John and I did our show where we were talking about all the movies we didn't see last year during the Academy Awards, and it's like, I'm motivated less and less to go to the theaters. I go way less than I did.
Unless it's like a big experience type movie that I
Yeah.
need to see just because of my own personal fandom for it. The casual movie experience is dying off. Now it's just like you know what you're going for. It's not like, hey, let's just go and see what's playing.
Yeah, and people watch their stuff on Netflix. So many people watch so much Netflix, and I think that movies will start to turn to that sort of streaming format. I like the way that Game of Thrones does it, where it's like, hey, we got the premiere. It's not on live TV, but it goes live on the app at 9:00. Here you go. Here's your game. Here's your drug.
And then it doesn't come on until 9:12, and you're just sweating the whole time.
And then the
hoping that you
PlayStation
didn't
breaks,
mess up.
and Michael sits there in state.
has a hernia, just waiting for
The PlayStation app doesn't, at least for my PlayStation, it hasn't been working that well. So I just switched to the computer.
I mean, don't you think it's just the volume of people watching?
That's
Game
what
of
I think it
Thrones?
is. Yeah, that's definitely what I think it is.
So they just
But for some reason, just using it like an internet browser seems to work fine.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
Here's to the future.
Here's the future. But yeah, so I thought that was a good topic. Good discussion.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I think that
We'll all be older too.
we'll all be way older. Yeah.
That's not gonna be fun.
Will we get any closer to singularity? Will we get to the singularity soon? The meshing of human and robotics?
Yes.
You think so?
Can I have like a robot cannon?
I don't think they'd authorize that, but you know what? It's okay.
What if it's like just have like all these cooking utensils like on your left hand? It's just like
Be useful, yeah. Just go
flip
through
your pancake and then switch to the spoon.
Go Gadget spatula.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
In 10 years, we'll all be Inspector Gadget. Yeah, all right. Are we ready for yours?
Sure.
All right, moving on to John Parker. What's your topic?
So I wanted to do a top 10 list of favorite video games. If you have it in order, great. If not, no big deal.
And so these are the games that, affected us emotionally, affected our creativity, our livelihood,
Yeah.
took time away from our friends and families. All the best things when we were kids.
Definitely.
So these aren't necessarily the best, but the favorites.
For each of us.
Yeah.
So I figured we start with 10 and just kind of keep going around.
Yep.
So I'll start it off, and then we'll just go clockwise.
Okay.
So number 10 on my list is NBA 2K12. The reason why it's 12 is because that was the year that they introduced playing as an older team in 2011 with the Michael Jordan game. But in 2012, that was when they added you being able to play as other teams in specific scenarios. So like you could play as Magic Johnson against the Celtics in the 80s, and they changed the graphics to make it look like you were watching it on a television set in the 80s and stuff like that. So it was really fuzzy. And there was a game where you would play as Bill Russell, and it was black and white and really fuzzy. So it made it look like a telecast and stuff like that. But that just expanded the amount of historical teams you could play as well as upped the gameplay. So that's why I chose 12 over any of the other years. But
Have you bought every single 2K game?
Since 2011. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Have you noticed them getting better or worse?
Yeah.
Every year, do they kind of get better every year?
Yeah, this one was just, I remember playing this the most just because I liked all those scenarios. But they keep getting better. So,
EA always comes on stage at E3 and they're always like, "Oh, we got this brand new addition to NBA, which is going to make it the best NBA
EA actually
ever."
doesn't make the 2K games.
Yeah.
Who makes
It's
who
2K.
makes?
It's 2K.
Yeah, but EA publishes it.
No, EA made NBA Live, and eventually NBA Live was really popular for a long time, and eventually 2K passed it up. So 2K
By
is
George, you're right.
2K. Yeah, Zach doesn't play a lot of sports games.
No, not at all.
2K is the basketball game to play now,
Yep.
and it's not produced by EA.
Do any of you guys play baseball video games?
Yeah, I play the show.
Okay, because the show is the only baseball game out right now because
baseball
Sony holds the
sucks.
rights to 2K baseball stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, is the show good?
The show's really good.
Okay, because I've heard nothing but good things about the show, even though I'm not a huge
It's
sports
beautiful.
game fan. I like
Yeah.
the arcadey sports games.
It's fun. Like NBA Jam.
Yeah, we'll see if that makes an appearance on my list.
NHL Hockey 94.
Hold on, table shaking.
Ah, man. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That was funny enough. That we can keep it in. Okay.
You're next.
Anything else you had to say about that? My number 10 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Ooh.
This is a great game. I think this was like the last pinnacle of Call of Duty. I'm not a huge fan of the first-person like war simulator games, so Battlefield never really interests me just because I think it's too big and too hardcore for me. Although I totally respect those games and everything that they stand for.
They make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money. But Call of Duty was always fun and arcadey and quick and fast, and that was why I really liked it.
Modern Warfare 2's campaign was really good.
Modern Warfare 2's
Excellent.
campaign
Great
was
story.
good. I just really think that, man, I must cumulatively, I must have sunk hundreds of hours into that multiplayer because that was when all of my friends had Xbox Live.
Sure.
Everyone I knew had Xbox Live, and it was just like daily after I would think about that game during class. And I remember sitting in Mr. McCarty's psychology class or whatever, and I'm in the back, and he's talking about like scuba divers and Freudism, and I'm in the, I just hear like the wah, 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 and in my head I can just so fuck out. So that was one of those games that I really thought about, and I thought it was one of the best. And of course, you know, I thought the Call of Duty series has taken, you know, maybe they've taken a couple wrong turns, but they're still fun games at least.
Yeah, definitely. They're entertaining. Yeah, absolutely.
So number 10 on my list is any NBA 2K game. It might be a little bit of a cop-out, not picking
No,
a
that's
specific
fine.
game.
No, not at all.
But I haven't bought every year or played every year, and for me it's just something that's really fun to play casually when I just want to play a video game. So NBA 2K, I guess from like 2011 on, because that's really when it got good.
That's when it took over for sure.
So that's any NBA 2K game from 2011 to 2016 fits into my number 10 spot.
Great.
Just a fun game.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. Number 10 on my list, we'll take kind of back to the Call of Duty here. Call of Duty 5 World at War.
I know that you really like this one too.
Definitely, yeah. Just kind of a dark, gritty, and honestly, if you think about it, one of like the most modern World War II games of like a recognizable franchise. We haven't seen a whole lot of that come out since World at War. And I thought, I still go back and play it today. And it also introduced zombies, which is hugely popular, especially with our friend group. Game mode, definitely something that I think was a great trend that continued.
Which one did the President's one where you're in like
Black
That was
Ops.
Black Ops.
Okay, that's my favorite.
Black Ops would
zombies
be
one.
my first honorable mention, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, another good one.
World at War, also the hardest Call of Duty game.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
That
it's
campaign is
brutal too.
hard.
Oh yeah,
Campaign.
fighting the Japanese on the islands, like definitely.
I just remember not the trench stuff, but I remember the level I can see vividly in my head is the swamp, where you're like in the swamp and then you have
Yep.
to come up on the base and there's these guys with flamethrowers and it's
Absolutely.
that game was something else, man.
It was intense.
Yeah.
Keeping with the zombie theme, my number 9 is Call of Duty Black Ops, which I think took the zombie game mode and perfected it.
Yep.
I played Black Ops Zombies on Black Ops 2 a little bit, which I enjoyed, but I think Black Ops Zombies on the Black Ops 1 was the swan song for the zombies. I think it was a lot of fun. We have all logged in multiple hours playing that together, linking up and stuff like that with LAN. But it was a great campaign, good story, a lot of fun.
I think that's the
multiplayer.
best Call of Duty campaign.
I would agree.
It's the most cinematic. It's got good themes. The
Best
intrigue.
cast.
Yeah, Sam Worthington,
Ice Cube. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Ice
Cube.
Cube. Shout out to the wager matches, which I think is one of the most fun multiplayer things. I remember Sticks and Stones was just so much fun.
Oh yeah. You wanted to get
so
yelled
great.
at online. That was the game mode to do it.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, oh yeah. And shout out to the 4-year-olds playing Sticks and Stones on Black Ops. My number 9 is NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Now, I never played this game until high school, but me and a few friends of mine discovered this beautiful place in the Cincinnati Mills Mall, which is largely abandoned except for the Bass Pro Shop that kind of takes precedent there. But there's an arcade that was put in there in early on in my freshman year of high school called Arcade Legacy. A small thing owned by this guy, really cool guy named Jesse. Shout out to Jesse if you're listening. And basically what it is that you would go, you'd pay $10 for the entire day or night, usually when we went, and you just get to play all these arcade games. And so growing up, my parents' generation, I'm sure, remembers it a little bit better, but we didn't grow up in a time when arcades were really prevalent. We had home consoles. We had the SNES. We had the GameCube. And so going to arcades was a huge deal for me. NBA Jam Tournament Edition was one of the best games to play at this arcade, and since we didn't have to pay for every single game, we just played game after game after game of NBA Jam, and it's just so funny because I've never liked sports games very much. Like I played Madden all the time when I was a kid, and I loved. I actually like the hockey games and golf too. I really like Tiger Woods PGA on the GameCube, but
Rory McIlroy PGA.
Rory McIlroy. No. Who won it this year? Did Rory win again?
I don't
Which
know.
tournament?
Rory choked.
Yeah.
Who was it? I can't remember. I just know Rory didn't win this year.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't Spieth either. He choked pretty bad.
So I've always liked the more arcadey sports games. So NBA Jam really spoke to me, and it's just so much fun. Shout out to Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing, if you're listening. Ewing, is it the shoes? Just a really fun game. And also, we go out to Barcade Legacy and 16-bit in Cincinnati, and just getting smashed and playing NBA Jam is unrivaled. One of the most fun game.
Mike and I should have won that game.
We should have.
Well, you were playing the Knicks.
Yeah, we
Keep
were
that in
also
mind.
playing as the Magic, so that was probably a bad idea.
Connor?
All right, so my number 9 is Skyrim. Really fun game, a lot of cool things to talk about, but Skyrim will be popping up later in other lists, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Mike.
Awesome. So my number 9 would be Assassin's Creed 2. And I think Assassin's Creed have been criticized because they're fun games, but kind of repetitive.
And they keep making them.
Yeah, they keep making. They've finally taken a break this year. They're going to spend 2 whole years on it, so we'll see how the next one is.
How about that movie?
Yeah,
though?
did you see the trailer for the movie?
I can't say I was impressed. I think I'll definitely see it. I'll definitely see it. Can't say I was impressed.
I'll see anything with Fassbender.
That's true.
Fassbender's great.
I don't think that movie's going to be very good.
Fassbender's going to be good. There's no doubt. It's just the movie surrounding him is probably.
How much do you think
just
they had to
super
pay
mediocre.
him to get him to do a video game movie?
It depends on how big the budget of this movie was, because I guarantee you, a quarter of that budget was spent on actors. Because they got Fassbender and Marion Cotillard, two of the most prestigious actors in Hollywood right now.
True.
But
True.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, definitely.
Assassin's Creed 2. Love the setting.
Oh,
That's my favorite thing about
absolutely.
those games. Is always the
Absolutely.
setting.
Beautiful, and at the time, just absolutely beautiful. As far as the scenery, you got Venice, you got Florence, all those Italian cities, kind of right before the Renaissance. So great game to get a new locale, something I've never seen before. Very cool story as well, cool characters.
And it upped the game from the first one too, because I
Absolutely.
remember everyone thought the first game was really bland and kind of boring, and then 2 came around and it was suddenly overnight Assassin's Creed was a thing.
Yep,
So,
everybody played it.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Did you ever play Assassin's Creed 4: The Black Flag? The pirate one?
I loved Black
Okay,
Flag.
I think Black Flag is my favorite.
Definitely. Black Flag was a good
Great
too.
one. Like the pirate theme.
Yeah.
Numero ocho. Star Wars Battlefront, not the newest one, the original for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. Yeah, that game is a lot of fun. So I just have a lot of hours logged into playing that, since I was like 10 or 11, or whenever that came out. It's just a lot of fun maps, a lot of like vast opportunities. There is a small campaign with that first one, but it's mostly just the experience of having a really long-lasting Star Wars game. Because I'll still play that right now. So.
And those are the days of split screen, man.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
You can have your friends over and play multiplayer. You don't have to stay at home.
Yeah, Zach, I can remember playing Battlefront for hours with you. Hours.
Yeah, and you had it on Xbox, right? Because you weren't a PlayStation boy.
No, yeah.
Battlefront is one of those games I do have really fond memories of, and so I was one of the nostalgia people. So that when Battlefront came out for PS4 and Xbox One, I was like, yeah, definitely. But
not even close.
Not even close. Well, in terms of graphical and gameplay, I do think that Battlefront, the new one, plays infinitely better. It's not as clunky. It's faster. The guns feel better, but it's just the diversity that kind of made that game lack. But the funny thing is that I don't remember the single-player story mode at all. Do you?
For the first one? I remember maybe, it was like 3 missions for each faction. It was pretty short.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as big as the Battlefront 2, which has the better single-player stuff. I just like the maps better on Battlefront 1, so that's what won it over for me.
What were some of the maps?
I played that one long. Bespin Platforms is the best map ever.
Renvar Harbor,
getting in
the AT-AT.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
the harbor
I love
and the
that. That
Citadel
ice cave,
were
so cool.
Kashyyyk docks with
Always
the sniper.
Kashyyyk. Always Kashyyyk, absolutely.
What else is a good one? Cloud City with the carbon freezing chamber, where if you fall in, you die.
Mos Eisley was fun.
That was
I like that one a lot.
That's true.
Yeah. And it was you didn't have OP heroes in this one, so they were just like controlled by the computer.
You couldn't play as the heroes in Battlefield 1. That was Battlefront 2, right? You could play as the heroes?
So in the first one, they were just like gods, and they'd walk around, and you'd like shoot a missile at Mace Windu, and he'd deflect it with his lightsaber back at you. It's awesome. Good game. Fun game.
Absolutely.
Number 8, Uncharted 4.
Oh.
So I thought about this in great depth, and I'm sure John will have a few things to say about this one. Maybe. Do you have this on? This is on your list.
Oh yeah. It's on
okay.
the list.
So maybe we can tag team this one.
Sure.
I thought long and I thought real hard about this one because the Uncharted franchise might be my favorite PlayStation franchise of all time. The way that Naughty Dog is able to tell stories in their games is unparalleled and unrivaled in games. I love games like Grand Theft Auto, but they don't tell a really emotionally impacting story. Even Call of Duty tried, and it's Call of Duty.
Some of them landed,
but there's something about the Uncharted series where you really do care about these characters. And when Uncharted 4 rolled those final credits and I sat back on my couch and I thought about the experience that I just had, Mike, I just had to smile and I started replaying it. I'm working towards the platinum. I'm 69% there. And it's really just a great game. It is PlayStation 4's best game. It's PlayStation 4's best looking game. It's definitely the best looking console game I've ever played in my life. And they tell a great story and they kill it in the acting world. It's just unbelievable. And, staying away from spoilers, play this game. For the love of God, play this game. It's so good. And also the multiplayer. If it was the list of 10 games I could only play for the rest of my life, the multiplayer is so much fun.
Yeah.
It's arcadey and fast, and the maps are fun and diverse, and the rope swinging is a whole lot of fun. It's really just a great game, and I honestly see a hard time topping this in the next couple years for being my favorite PlayStation 4 game.
Yeah, I'll have to get to it when it gets down to my list and talk a little bit more about it. But I agree with that. And we've already had the Uncharted 4 show.
Yeah, we had the discussion show.
So be on the lookout for that.
Sure.
All right, so my number 8 is probably a little bit different than any other game we'll talk about, but Portal 2. Ooh, I loved Portal 2.
Yes.
Oh man, it's just so different than any other game. Actually, intellectually stimulating. You really had to think. There were levels that took me days to beat.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was really different, and I liked how it made me think outside the box.
Yeah, puzzle games hit with me once in a blue moon. Because I don't like getting frustrated by games very easily, but a lot of puzzle games are fun, but the way that Portal 2 tells its story is so great. It's so cleverly written. I love. What's the little ball robot's name?
Oh, I've only played this game once. Okay. It's been a long time. But don't ask me to recall names.
But Gladys is hilarious and awesome, and the co-op. Also, shout out to the co-op because that was a lot of fun going through as the little robots.
No,
Lots of fun.
Great game.
Yeah, shout out. Valve does great work. Now that's an HD remaster I'd love to play on PlayStation 4.
Oh, yeah, I would buy it.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Mikey?
So number 8 is Halo Combat Evolved.
Mm-hmm.
And this is had to be
the only Halo I've ever played.
Really? That's the only one?
The whole story.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I played 2 multiplayer a lot.
Definitely.
Okay.
And
2 multiplayer is the best.
Was
for sure.
I would say the Halo trilogy, but to keep it to a singular game, Halo Combat Evolved really it was so new when it came out. These exotic locales you went to, it kind of redefined the shooter genre.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Definitely. So.
That was one of the games where I downloaded the free demo on my PC, and it was just Capture the Flag on Blood Gulch.
What a great map!
Great map! One of the best multiplayer maps. And I remember thinking in my bedroom, I would look at it and I would say, "Wow, there is no way that video games will ever look better than this."
No,
psych.
Now look at Uncharted 4, but it's like,
man.
But Halo and back in the day was just so great. It plays well. The story is interesting and kind of eerie.
Very eerie.
Yeah,
very eerie.
And Master Chief is just such a cool character. He might not have the best sort of characterization and development, but he's a cool character.
By God, he looks awesome.
Yeah, he does.
True.
So moving on to number 7. My number 7 is Super Smash Bros. And I'm going to go with the Wii U version just because I think the mechanics of the Wii U version play better than such classics as the N64 version.
Yeah.
Super Smash Brothers, I can just sum it up with one word, fun. Unless you're really bad, then it's not fun. But it's a fun multiplayer game. It's better the more people that you have and stuff like that. And there are single player aspects to it, but the best part about it is the multiplayer. And that's what it's based on. And they've kept expanding the Nintendo characters that are in the game and stuff like that. But I just have fond memories of playing this game. Zach?
I kind of reach into the granola box. Smash Bros. Actually comes up on my list too. So, my number 7 is Red Dead Redemption.
Oof.
In terms of open world games, Rockstar just kind of nails it in that terms.
Absolutely.
I mean, they reinvented the open world with GTA 3. No one really saw that coming, and it was a huge leap for video games when you had this giant sprawling open world you could go do all this sorts of stuff. And Grand Theft Auto is fun, but they never tell a really impactful story because they have to focus on the explosions and the guns and the cars and stuff like that. But with Red Dead Redemption, they were like, we're going to take a couple steps back. We're going to go to the Old West. There's no cars. There's no big buildings. There's no parachutes. There's no giant explosions. But what there are these cowboys. They're quests for booty. And, you got these towns and
booty.
It was just a great game that told a really good story. John Marston is a really compelling character. And his whole arc is just awesome. And,
absolutely.
Also, the multiplayer was great, being able to drop into this big open world where you and your friends could just make a posse, go ride around, blow up dams, hunt down other people. It was a lot of fun. And, not a lot of people make Western games. That's a really kind of an untapped market. And I think Red Dead Redemption kind of said, don't even bother. Yeah. Don't even bother trying.
They absolutely sealed that genre because unless it's Red Dead Redemption 2, nobody's going to buy it.
E3 this year, we'll
E3
see.
This year.
That's going to be we'll talk about that on our prediction show. But yeah, so Red Dead Redemption is just a classic game. That's one of the best console games of last generation, I think.
Absolutely.
All right, so number 7 for me is Borderlands.
Wow, I didn't know you played.
Really different game. I played through the whole game with my younger brother Kyle. If you listen to this, shout out to you, Kyle.
Shout out to Kyle.
This was a really fun game to play through. Crazy amount of weapons. It's ridiculous. The names for the weapons are ridiculous. The gameplay is really arcadey, and I think that's why I like it. John kind of already used this to describe Smash Bros, but it was just a fun game. It was just fun. Not really a super great storyline or anything like that, but it was just fun to level up and get better weapons and go through regularly whenever we would play together. The multiplayer is great. You talked about split screen earlier. This is a great split screen game. So if you're looking for one, try Borderlands.
All about that loot hunt. A great art style. Also, I'll throw that in.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks beautiful,
really unique.
cartoony, interesting. Yeah, great looking.
Yeah,
game.
I can walk into a room and I can recognize it on a TV just because the art style is so different.
Yeah, the company that made that, that's a 2K thing, but that's Gearbox. Gearbox. So yeah, Gearbox makes Borderlands, but right now they just put out another game called Battleborn, and it's kind of like a MOBA type game, but it's not doing very well on Xbox and PlayStation right now.
Bummer.
Doesn't look as good as Borderlands, so maybe they need to return to those roots.
Absolutely. So my number 7 would be The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And I love games with kind of a dark, moody storyline. I think it makes for a better story. You've got kind of this dark background. And a lot of games are war games. You're in the fighting, you're in the battles. And The Witcher is kind of unique where you're on the outskirts of this huge war. It's kind of this open world setting. You're always coming in after the battle, after the fight for most of the game. And so it's a very unique, very cool dynamic to kind of see behind... kind of a medieval fantasy setting. So to see behind these medieval battles, stuff like that, explore, kind of almost a detective game in a medieval time. Very cool, very unique. I think Project Red definitely did really well with taking it from Witcher 2, which is very linear, to this open world that just takes hundreds of hours to complete.
Yeah, I maybe played it for about 5 or 6 hours, and it didn't grab me, but I immediately had so much respect for CD Projekt Red and the world that they built, because that is a gorgeous game, and it's huge. There is so much to do, and I jumped in, and in less than an hour, I was fighting demons and fighting these swamp things, and riding on a horse and choosing quest mates, and I was playing Gwent. Did you play Gwent? The card game?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was a fun game. It was just too dense for me. There was too much to do.
It almost overwhelms you.
Yeah, it was a little overwhelming. Yep. But did you finish the game?
I ended up finishing the story. Yes.
Okay. And how does it end? Good?
Yes. It's a good ending. A couple different ways you can go about it, but it's definitely good. Okay. It would take hours to explain, so we can talk about that after the show. But yeah, it's a very cool story. Yeah.
All right, moving on to number 6. My number 6 is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64. I put this here instead of farther down the list where I have a different Zelda game, just because the story is very good. But I don't think it's the best Zelda story. I do like the gameplay aspect of it. I think it was unique, especially for its time, where you have quote-unquote 72 hours before you have to reset.
Yeah, it's stressful.
The entire world. It is stressful, but it's cool because everybody has a specific thing that the people that live in the town do the same thing every day, and by the time you get to the end of the game, you know exactly where everybody's going to be, and you know exactly what they're going to say. So you're wielding time, and you're also completing old-fashioned Zelda dungeons and stuff like that. So it was a fun game. I had a lot of fun playing it. It's a memorable experience for me.
Yeah. Majora's Mask is tied for my favorite Zelda game, but neither of them show up on my list just because I've never been super attached to Zelda. But Majora's Mask, I think, has the best sort of atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's really eerie and creepy, and I think that really...
It's depressing, too, when you think about
it is.
There's a lot of depressing side quests and stuff like that, too.
Number 6 for me is Super Mario Sunshine. I love Mario games, and especially the 3D platforming ones. So 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 2. Those games are just great. They control well, they play well, and those are the best examples of Nintendo using their consoles well. I just remember this being one of my favorite games on GameCube, and man, it looked so good in the time. It just looked beautiful.
Oh,
and the way that the sun would hit the water, and the animations for Flood, and I love the island theme. I love the tropical sort of setting. The soundtrack was great. The Delfino Plaza song is so rockin' awesome. I'll listen to that in the shower sometimes. Also a really hard Mario game, which I really appreciated. It took you a while to get through it. There's a lot of stars, a lot of things to collect, and lots of fun mini games too. So shout out to Mario Sunshine, an underappreciated Mario game in my opinion.
We've already talked a little bit about Call of Duty, but my number 6 is Call of Duty Black Ops. It was the first Call of Duty game that I owned personally. I obviously played Call of Duty before that, but this was the first time that I actually had a Call of Duty game. I loved the story. It was really interesting. It was really surprising and different.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And playing online was just really fun. Also, zombies, amazing. Like we talked about before, the zombies in Black Ops is just incredible. So,
yeah, especially because you could play all the World at War maps on Black Ops with the Black Ops guns. So That was really cool.
Yeah, I think honestly, Black Ops was the last like really good Call of Duty game in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I fully enjoyed it.
Black Ops 2 was fine, but it was just more Black Ops. Black Ops made such an impression. And
Yeah,
now we're Black Ops 2, Ghosts, Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare 3. So we're 4 deep in the rabbit hole, and I haven't been intrigued to go back yet.
No.
So
Absolutely. All right, so my number 6, and I can't believe we haven't mentioned one of these yet. Pokemon Sapphire version. And just looking at Pokemon games in general, such an integral part of people our age, people who are now hitting their 20s, our
Except
childhood.
me.
Childhood.
Except for Connor.
I was deprived as a child.
The Pokemons are a little too satanic for the Connor household.
I am the product of a conservative, careful upbringing. Absolutely.
That Pikachu's going to turn our son into a... Never mind.
Demon worshiping, fire breathing.
But absolutely, I like Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald, that cycle in particular. The world was just really intriguing to me.
Gotta hatch those eggs, Mike.
Gotta hatch those eggs. Traveled all the islands, a very water-based world. Just really cool. I mean, kind of embarrassing to say, but before my battery ran dry, I pumped probably 470-something hours in that game. So...
That's a lot of car rides.
That's a lot of car rides.
That's a lot of AA batteries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I had the,
SP,
I had the
right?
SP.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so you charge it up before you get in
You
the
gotta
car.
be able to play
and-
at night. You don't want to have that stupid clip-on light.
I had
thing.
that. I had the Mad Cats. It was like a Mad Cats thing where you snap it
Yep.
onto the back and it folded over, and then there was a light and a magnifying glass. And it's just like this thing's like, kill me. It's this giant Game Boy thing. Yeah, shout out to Pokemon. I thought about it. I thought when I was putting my list together, I was like, do I want to put Ruby? Because that's my favorite. And I was like, you know what? There's better RPGs out there. But Pokemon is the one that started it for me.
Yep, absolutely.
Got me into that genre.
Funny you should mention it because my number 5 is a Pokemon game. I actually went with Silver, which was the first
Ooh,
game,
yeah.
first Pokemon game that I played. And to disagree with you, Gen 3 guys, I like Gen 2 the best, just because you have both Gen 1 and Gen 2 regions, so that's a double game, more
Double
more bang for your buck. But yeah, same. I just logged a lot of hours into it. Same. I mean the formula for Pokemon was
It's all
pretty
the
much
same.
the same.
It's copy and paste.
So, but
That's
yeah,
all
it's fun times.
Let me ask you this: are you both getting Sun and Moon?
Yeah, I'll get it.
I think I want to look into it a little more. I don't know if I'll be alone here. I do not like the shift to the more 3D graphics.
I don't like it
We
either.
hate
I love the top down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me mad. The pro is that we're getting closer to them doing a full-fledged console Pokemon
Can't
game.
wait.
I can't wait for that, and that's going to make sense in 3D. But
Oh,
when it's on
absolutely.
a handheld, I want it to look like Ruby and Sapphire.
Yep.
I'm going to get Sun. The Moon Legendary looks kind of
The Sun Legendary definitely looks better. And
Fire
in my opinion-
Tiger. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was it my turn?
Yeah,
It's your turn.
My number 5 is Destiny.
Ooh.
Now, it took me a while to come to this conclusion, but it was sometime in the past 3 or 4 months after they had released a recent expansion where they added these Iron Banner exclusive loot drops where you get these cell-shaded armors where you can put on these chroma colors, put it on your guy, you get a little bit of extra vanity, you get a little bit extra power, but you have this like Taken thing where if you get all the armors together, you do this exclusive taunt where you start moving around all shaky like. And it was that moment when I realized, wow, I've sunk a lot of hours in this game, and I kind of am a huge fucking nerd. And I looked on my app, and let me pull it up just to show you. But Destiny is just one of those games where I said fuck.
Now that's 2. Oh man.
I said fuck twice, John. No, the
Just
third
right around 50 minutes.
Fuck, John. All right.
But Destiny is it's a first-person shooter with RPG elements in an MMO sort of space, and so you're in these open worlds where you can fight with your allies and your friends, but you can also go against enemies in the Crucible, and basically the story kind of sucks. But the whole game is based on this gameplay loop where you go out, you fight these enemies, you get better loot, you go back in with better loot and try to get better, and you keep getting better and better. And I just lost track of how much time I played this game. On my Hunter, my main character, I've logged 5 days and 6 hours. On my Titan, I've logged 1 day and 6 hours. And on my Warlock, I've logged 1 day and 9 hours. So roughly over 8 days of straight gameplay.
Continuous gameplay.
So if 8 24-hour periods, someone do the math. I've played this game a lot. It's
So that's an obscene amount.
yeah, it's an obscene amount of but it's a lot of fun. Great game. I can't wait for the sequel.
All right, so number 5 for me, just a little, I don't even know what to call it here.
Throwback.
Not a throwback. Oh, man. So my video game time has decreased significantly as I entered the later years of high school and AP classes in college. So
Once you started taking life seriously.
A lot of the games that should be in my top 5 I haven't played. I've watched my roommates play parts of them. So you're going to have to excuse my top 5 for being a little bit old. But my favorite games are games from when I was younger because I haven't played as many recently. But my number 5 is Medal of Honor European Assault. Not because it's a great game. I didn't even finish the campaign, but my brother and my cousins and I played hours and hours of the split-screen multiplayer, obscene amounts. I don't even know how many. I probably could have learned to play like multiple instruments or spoken another language in the amount of time we put into the multiplayer of this game. But it was so much fun, and I was really the only one in my family that like regularly played video games. So it was me against like 2 or 3 other people at a time at this point. It was so much fun.
You got video games to play. There's way more important stuff than writing papers, and so don't worry about that.
Yeah, I think Zach and I have the same thought, but talk about instruments. The theme song to this game.
It's the best theme song of any game ever. It is. You can't beat it. You really can't.
It's unreal.
This is on my Spotify playlist. It's on my brother's Spotify playlist.
Dogs of War.
I listened to this in the car on
great.
vacation. I listened to it to pump me up before tests.
It's great.
I used to use
amazing.
that.
It's
so well done.
We used to use that track, and when we make our home movies when we were kids, and we would put the European Assault theme song in the soundtrack for all of our movies. It was a great game and underrated. Not a lot of people look back fondly on it. And I played it on GameCube, where that game was especially whacked. And, like trying to play a first-person shooter with a GameCube controller
The disc is too small to run that type of game.
Yeah, it's no good. Yeah. But that is a great game. Shout out to that. I didn't know you had that on your list.
It was fun. Just fond memories. That's why that game's in my top 5.
Agreed.
Definitely. So my number 5, we've talked about this series a little bit, but Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2. And I won't take too much time, but just I think the introduction of space combat from number 1.
Which is incredibly hard.
It's so hard. So fun. I really enjoyed it.
So hard on that game.
I was actually pretty good at it.
If you don't use homing missiles,
that's true.
Like, it's so hard.
That's true. And as well as the campaign. Really cool to go from the Clone Wars era to the Rise of the Empire, kind of from the foot soldier clone perspective. I thought was a really neat take on a campaign for those games.
Cool. I might be jumping the gun a little bit here, but not my number 4 is Uncharted 4. Because I haven't really played. I mean, I've played games like it, obviously, because I played the other Uncharted games. But this one is definitely the best in my opinion, and I just had so much fun playing it for a lot of the same reasons that you mentioned and that we've talked about on the other show before. It's just great. It's such an impactful story, and it's just a beautiful end to the series. So can't really describe it anymore. It's just great.
Yeah, beautiful game. I also like that it's your number 4 pick. That's cute.
I didn't plan that, but I guess I kind of did.
My number 4 is Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U. Smash has always been a huge series in my heart and with my friends, and that really is like the multiplayer game for me. When I think about multiplayer, I think about that and Kart. I think about Mario Kart. And, gosh, so many hours lost to Super Smash Brothers. And that's probably the best game on the Wii U, which, oh, man.
The Wii U is
a joke.
Trash.
It's a joke. Oh, God. I had such high hopes.
The GameCube gamepad is a demon baby, man. It's just
Connor?
All right, number 4 for me is Battlefield 3.
Great game.
Really fun game. Really fun online multiplayer. I like the bigger maps and being able to get in a vehicle and not having everything revolve around my kill to death ratio, but more around my score per minute and being able to work as a team. So I like Battlefield personally better than Call of Duty because I like the bigger maps and the team aspect of it. And I think Battlefield 3 was just an absolutely perfect example of how a game like that should work. It was really fun.
I agree. It's a good game.
I remember that game being big because of the destructive environments.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I remember
that's a huge plus. Yeah,
everyone was like, "You got to play this game. You can break walls." It's like, oh, okay, whatever. I'll stick to my Call of Duty. But yeah, Battlefield's great. I played Battlefield 4 a lot when PlayStation 4 launched.
Yeah, Battlefield 4 is fun, but I like Battlefield 3 better.
So my number 4, and I haven't looked at any of these guys' lists, but I know it's going to show up later, so I'll be real low-key with it. But The Last of Us. Great game. I will put in my 2 cents when we get to the later parts of the list, but just a very unique game. Naughty Dog did well again with that game.
Team Naughty Dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. All right, getting into the top 3 to start. My number 3 is Batman Arkham Knight, which I think plays the best out of the Arkham games. I was really torn between Arkham Knight and Arkham City from a story perspective, but I went with Arkham Knight, and I don't want to spoil the story at all, but just because the Joker aspects of Arkham Knight is like some of the best Joker stuff in like all of Batman fiction ever, I think. Great return with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill back into it after Arkham Origins. Not knocking Arkham Origins at all, it was a fun game. But Arkham Knight, I think, it was the longest Arkham game. There's a lot of fun side quests and stuff like that, and that was actually the first PS4 game that I owned, because I just recently had a PS4, but such a fun game, and I love Batman, as we all know.
Yeah, for all of you listening out there, John literally spent like 2 straight weeks, every free moment he had was playing this game. I would come home and John would be playing the game, and then I would leave and I would come home and John would be playing the game.
Found all the Riddler trophies.
I would wake up in the morning and John would be playing the game, and I would go to bed and John would still be playing that game. It was insane.
It is one of those games that gets in your head, and
the ending is just so good. It's just, I don't know.
it's certainly not without
it's a good chapter in Batman's just like mythos as a character from when he started in comics to where he is now, and that's kind of one of the biggest spikes from Batman, especially in the past couple of years, is those video games.
Yeah, I think from a storytelling perspective, it's the best Arkham game, without a shadow of a doubt. Visuals, it's the best Arkham game, without a shadow of a doubt. Gameplay-wise, I think it's the worst Arkham game, without a shadow of a doubt. Everybody likes to crap on the Batmobile, and the Batmobile was fun. The Bat Tank, not fun. Once you started doing those missions where it kept asking you to do the missions over and over again with the tank, it just got to a point where I was like, I don't feel like Batman. I don't feel this. I'm not having fun with the tank. It's cumbersome.
I think it's up to opinion. Yeah, I had a lot of fun driving.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's the lowest rated Batman game, but I appreciate that you put it on your top 10 just because of the story. So I really do think it has the best story. Maybe one of the best Batman stories ever that I've ever read.
It's just a combo of a bunch of different Batman stories, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Number 3 is Persona 4 Golden for the PS Vita. This is a remaster of, I believe it was a PlayStation 2 game or a PS1 game. It came out in Japan, of the Persona series. Hardcore Japanese role-playing game. Didn't think that I would ever get into something like this. I've never really liked Final Fantasy, although I played 7 and 8, and I played this out of a friend's recommendation on the PS Vita, and it's like we said, Pokemon is RPG for young kids, where you get like the basis of it. You get like the inventory, you get the stat building, you get the squad, your party, your 4 party or whatever. Persona is Pokemon for adults. It deals with adult themes. You have these high schoolers that are dealing with relationship drama, and you're picking your partners, and there's a murder in this town, and you're trying to figure out who the murderer is, and it's really dark and dire, and kids get kidnapped, and it's a really different story. And it's the whole thing with like anime versus cartoons, and that the Japanese anime really they don't treat their kids like babies. They treat their kids like adults, and they tell them mature stories. And I love Pokemon, but like I sunk 70 plus hours into Persona, just like building my party and building my stats and my relationship links and stuff. So yeah, and being on a portable device where it's just like a console quality RPG, loved it. Great game.
So, keeping with the theme of Connor not playing very many video games anymore, and his top 5 being childhood favorites, Lego Star Wars comes in at number 3 for me. I washed so many cars to be able to save up the money to be able to buy this game for PlayStation 2. And it was the first Lego game, and I thought it was amazing. And Lego has exploded into this massive genre of video games now, and this was really the first one. And I think it was extremely well done. Going back compared to modern Lego video games, obviously it's not quite as
Lego
entertaining.
Star Wars definitely will always have a place in everybody's hearts.
But
for sure.
Yeah,
it was really the first
nostalgia factor. Really.
Yeah, definitely.
Lego Star Wars was the first like licensing of the Lego properties, right? Like I don't remember many licenses before Star Wars.
Well, yeah, in terms of just the toy, I think that was one of their
true.
first licensing deals with Star Wars. So I think Lego Lord of the Rings is probably the swan song of all the Lego games, but Lego Star Wars will always be my favorite. Just it's Star Wars.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree because you go back and play Lego Star Wars, and it's like you have the doors where you select the levels in the cantina, and that was cool at the time. But now you have these open worlds where you can
which
walk
is
around.
really, really cool.
It is.
They've come a long way,
Yeah.
but I haven't played a lot of the more recent games, and this was the first one. I worked so hard to be able to get it, so this is just like I love this game.
Yeah. Where'd you play it on?
PlayStation 2.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
I played that on GameCube.
Got everything.
Yeah, me too.
Great game.
Awesome.
Mikey?
So number 3, Bethesda game 1 of 2, is Fallout 3. And as much as I loved Fallout 4, thought it was a great game, Fallout 3 just kind of had the air of mystery, and I think a cooler environment, even though obviously not as much, not as intricate. Just felt more eerie, more desolate. So just loved that game. Very unique, cool concept that they made.
It takes place in Washington, right?
Washington, yeah,
Okay, that's what I
capital. And along with that, Bethesda does really well with making and shipping a complete game. So the game in itself was awesome, but the DLC are worthwhile and not giving you something that you lacked in the first game. There's something totally different. So even the DLC, the different stories they released for that game, Point Lookout, the Pit, stuff like that, definitely just added to it, which was great.
What do you think about Far Harbor? Do you think that's going to topple?
I am so excited. I actually just got my PlayStation in, so I'll be playing Far Harbor all day tomorrow. So maybe on our next show, I'll talk about Far Harbor a little bit. But I'm
awesome.
thrilled, absolutely.
My number 2 is the game that I have played through the most, which is Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. Just a really fun game. There's always the debate of which is the best Zelda game. I think this is. I can't say it's the best, but I think it's definitely my favorite. Obviously, I've played it a lot, like I just said.
A lot of people would say it's the best.
Yes, and it's just a really, really beautiful, fun story, and it kind of changed 3D role-playing games a little bit. It was definitely huge for its time.
It's a big deal for the N64.
Yeah, because the N64 has a capacity. But it was just a lot of fun. I think it holds up. It's something that I can see myself playing again and again and again.
My number 2 is The Last of Us. Do we have this any higher in anyone's list? Maybe? Okay. Yeah, so I'll hold off then. Connor?
All right. So number 2 for me has already been mentioned tonight, but Star Wars Battlefront, just an amazing game. I don't think there are very many games that aren't Nintendo games that you can mention that people in 2016 are still excited to play. This is one of those few games.
Very true.
Like I mentioned before with the Medal of Honor European Assault, I put enough hours into this game that I probably could be bilingual at this point if I didn't play this game and did that instead. So it was just so much fun. So many the maps are the best part for sure.
Definitely.
This was also the first shooter that I had, so
Violent.
It was like my entry into a new genre, and it was with a story I loved already. So just so many things about this game that I love from growing up. Yeah, Star Wars Battlefront, great game.
Yeah, great. Excited for that sequel. Maybe we'll get a story.
Great. He's talking about the original.
I know, I'm talking about the sequel.
Yeah. Seriously, though.
So my number 2, we mentioned before, Red Dead Redemption. Mm-hmm. And I'll speak a little more on just the uniqueness of that game. As we talked about, Rockstar taking it from the big buildings and the big explosions, kind of this more, I don't want to say muted setting, because it's, it's got all the intimate setting. And looking at the characters, too, it's some of the most memorable, funniest, scariest, coolest characters, I've ever seen in the game. And it's a great story to play through, and it's an emotional story.
Oh yeah.
I don't even have to say spoilers because you haven't played Red Dead at this point.
Get off your ass.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Dead.
This game's been out for like 10 years.
At the end,
when did Red Dead come out? Keep talking.
It's been a while. At the end of the game, when you're playing your main character John Marston, you're trapped in a barn and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get out of this, and you die. Your main character dies. The story of this guy it's a Rockstar game, so you put in 50 plus hours with them playing through this game, and it's just very surprising and emotional. I don't get choked up by video games, but that one really hit me hard, definitely.
How far do you make it?
I got most of them. I had the Henry, so I had the 22 shot out. Still didn't quite get all of them.
I just remember feeling so empty after that happened because I was like, did I mess up? Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong? I could have done something better. I could have done more. And then I go the next day and I was talking to my friends at church who were all also playing this game, and I was like, yeah, I know, seriously. And I was like, I was like, did you guys beat it finally? And they were like, yeah. I was like, did he live? And they were like, no, that's the ending. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, that's how the game ends? I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. May 18th, 2010. So literally,
wow,
it's almost coming up on that 6-year anniversary.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wait, May 18th?
We're past it.
We're past that 6-year anniversary.
No, May. Oh yeah, we are past
6
it.
years.
It was 2
6
days
years,
ago.
2 days.
We didn't have a party or anything.
We'll have a drink tonight in honor of John Marston.
Hey.
Pour some out for John.
Pour one out for Johnny. Quick.
My number 1 is The Last of Us, and that was Zach's number 2. So
Yeah.
now we can talk about that, and Michael can join in because that was his 4.
I've watched it played all the way through twice.
So Connor can also join in. This game is incredible.
That's awesome.
This game is just incredible.
Yeah, it's unrivaled in a storytelling sense, and I really do think that in a gameplay sense too, Naughty Dog really nailed it. They are the best developer in the industry, in my opinion.
Sure.
I would have said Nintendo maybe 5 years ago, but they've really suffered. Just because
5.
Nintendo usually makes games that are like really tight and they're always good and they always work and they never need a patch. They're always great and beautiful and fun and entertaining, but Naughty Dog has just consistently, since Uncharted 1, given us 10 out of 10s. And The Last of Us is a 10 out of 10.
Oh, absolutely.
The character of Joel is so different. You don't see characters like that in video games. You don't see the relationship that he has with Ellie in video games. They really do understand what a mature sort of gamer wants in their video games. You don't just want explosions and blood, guts, and gore all the time. The way that they use violence in that game is so brutal.
Yeah, it's such an emotional game. You have to like sometimes take back and just like take 5 for a little bit after stuff goes down.
Absolutely.
Or you could play through it in 2 days like I did. Yeah, I couldn't stop.
I remember getting the game and I was like, I'm going to play through this in a whole weekend. This is going to be my weekend. And after I got to winter and I finished the winter part, no spoilers because this is still kind of a fresh game. I got through that and I had to set the controller down and I had to say, I need to walk away. I need to go outside and I need to take a sabbatical from this game because it really did make me feel gross inside and sick in the way that the world is just portrayed.
It's because you get so attached to those characters that you feel yourself as them. And then after, like you said, the winter chapter and then jumping into spring, it's rough.
It is rough, but also shout out to the multiplayer. I didn't play very much of it, but it is hardcore. It is, those people do not mess around when it comes to multiplayer. And it is like the Uncharted 4 multiplayer, except for way stripped down, way slower. There's no sprinting. There's no
rope.
No, there's no rope. There's no explosions.
No Victor Sullivan.
No, it's just like you craft while you're playing. You have to hunt these guys down. It's like you have 4 rounds. Good luck. And that's like such a good game. Great characters.
Can't talk about it enough. It's just so good. It's a 10. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why it's number 1 for me. It's my favorite game.
My number 1 game of all time is BioShock. Where do I begin with BioShock?
Here we go. Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your asses. So who's played BioShock at the table?
I have not.
Oh, absolutely.
Nope.
That's a shaken head from John. This is a must-play game. This is the best console game of last generation.
I'll write that down.
And he's writing it down, folks.
BIOS. Okay. Continue.
Ken Levine created a masterpiece with BioShock. It's not anything special in terms of the first-person shooting mechanics, but the way that they tell the story using the environment is unrivaled. At that time, I was playing Call of Duty, and I was playing Pokemon still, and I was playing, old console games, like old Game Boy Advance games. I was still playing Mario. I had a Wii at the time, so I was playing Wii Sports, Wii Tennis, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic goddamn games. And I wouldn't have classified myself as a video game player just because I just played them casually with my friends. I played Smash Brothers and I played Mario Kart, and that was it. I played Call of Duty online, but that's like everybody in my head as a kid, I'd be like, everybody plays Call of Duty, so why is it any? It's not. I'm not a gamer. It's not anything special like that. And it was the time in my life where video games were just not a thing to me very much. I had always played these games growing up, but I downloaded a demo for BioShock on the Xbox 360, and God bless whoever decided to put that on the store as a free download, just because you get to play the first 30 minutes of the game, and arguably one of the most beautiful intros in video game history. And this was in a time where storytelling in video games was not a thing. Naughty Dog wasn't even beginning to scratch the surface of Uncharted or The Last of Us, and Gone Home wasn't a thing, and Journey wasn't a thing. BioShock came out and told you this dark, interesting, creepy story with these great characters, and this there's just massive moments, and people remember it. There is the massive moment that happens towards the end that just it switches the switch in your brain, and but I just remember at the very beginning you get plunged in the city of Rapture,
or dropping into the city, seeing the whale swim by the underwater skyscraper.
Beautiful, and then you get in, you're like, this is great, how could this go wrong? And then, oh yeah, you gotta fight the splicers now. And then when you get to a Big Daddy and you know that it's time to fight him, it's awesome because the first person shooting it's a shooter, I guess, but it's not. The first person shooting is not what I think about when I think of that game. I think about the story, and I think about the plasmids, which are these they're not like mystical powers, but in this futuristic alternate history setting, you've got these sort of like genetic modifiers that you stick yourself with a needle, and then suddenly you can shoot fireballs from your hands.
Yep.
It is just an immaculate game in terms of storytelling and presentation. And Infinite, I would like to put Infinite in my top 10, but I'm just going to classify it as a sequel, because unless you play BioShock 1, Infinite's going to be lost on you. There's really a lineage there, but can't recommend this game enough. It takes 10, 11 hours to get through the main story if you played it a couple hours a day, and I just can't recommend it enough. My favorite game of all time. Best game of last generation.
Wow. That's going to be hard to follow. Anybody who's listening right now who's a really avid gamer is going to be very disappointed in me for my number one. And this is because I'm a huge sports fan. But NCAA football is by far my favorite video game that I've ever played. Definitely my most played video game. The dynasties that I've played on these games and the recruiting hours I've put in. I've played whole seasons where I didn't even pass the football. I just ran because I wanted to see if I could do it. Especially NCAA football 2004. That was the year after Ohio State beat the Miami Hurricanes in the national championship. So their team was just ungodly. It was insane how good they were. So that game was just really fun for me as an Ohio State fan.
Disclaimer: Connor likes college football more than life.
But no, just in general, NCAA football was my favorite sports game, my favorite video game, and it no longer exists, and it makes me extremely sad. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if there's anything else I can talk about. I can't put into words my love for college football. And this video game was that. I could be a college football player when I played this video game. So yeah, that's it.
Boom.
Take that for what it's worth.
Bet you didn't see that one coming.
I know it's not like a great video game story or an artful video game, but for me as a sports fan, it was just like, that was my game.
Gameplay is king, and if that is the gameplay for you, then have fun.
Sorry to all the hardcore gamers out there, but I like sports.
Playing a storytelling game versus a sports game doesn't make you any less of a gamer. It's all equal in God's eyes, and whatever.
That means a lot that you said.
Yeah. No, every gameplay really is king. If BioShock wasn't fun to play, it wouldn't be my favorite game. If The Last of Us didn't play well, and college football, these games, these sports games, they have whole teams dedicated to making sure that they play well and smoothly. And if a game didn't play well, like what was the 2K, whatever, the baseball 2K?
MLB 2K.
Yeah, if it's not fun to play, then it's not a good game. And obviously NCAA they've got their niche. So Good on them.
MLB 2K is probably like a 2 out of a 10. And that's from an avid baseball fan. Not even my fandom of the sport could help.
That's funny. Michael?
All right, my favorite game of all time. If I could only play one game for the rest of my life, I would happily play this game. Bought it the day it came out in 2011, and probably didn't play another game for an entire year. To be totally honest. Skyrim.
Yeah. Oh,
Skyrim. Yeah, and I still get this game out every winter and play it for at least a couple months, usually when I go home for Christmas. Just an incredible game. So much depth. Just so much to do. Great locations. Beautiful. For the time, like, I can still look at this game on the Xbox 360 and be like, wow, like, that's a good-looking game. For what the system I'm running on, it's beautiful. And just, there's always, I think I'm probably one of the few people in the world that can say that I have done 100% of the game and all its DLCs.
That's crazy.
Just hundreds of hours.
Jeez.
If you played it on PlayStation, do you think you'd have the platinum?
Absolutely. I can guarantee. You can look up Andrew.
No. Keep going on. Yeah,
I'll tell you. It's so expansive that I know I got on this past winter. And I thought I had 100% completion, and I found one more quest that I just hadn't done in the hundreds of hours I'd still put in.
Oh man, back in the game.
So back in the game, yeah. Still, like 5 years later of continuous play. I can't say until my Xbox 360 finally gave up the ghost and I got a PlayStation 4. I can't say there was a single month-long period that I didn't at least pop in the game. I would just always play it.
According to PlayStationTrophies.org, shout out to them because they do wonderful work over there. Estimated trophy difficulty 4 out of 10, which is way less than I would have assumed. There are 51 trophies in the game, 1 platinum, 1 gold, 14 silver, 35 bronze. Approximate time to platinum 100 plus hours. Only 1 playthrough needed, but let's look at some of these here. We got Dragon Slayer, complete the following. Main story quest, complete the following, complete Elder Knowledge. Unbound, let's see here. Delver, clear 50 dungeons.
Try over 100. Absolutely.
Complete 10 side quests. Discover 100 locations.
We need like a thug life for Michael's Skyrim.
Reach level 50.
Oh, absolutely.
Mike is power posing right now. For those of you.
No, I want to see get a skill to 100.
Yeah.
Absorb a dragon soul, 20 dragon souls.
100.
Couple hundred. Yeah.
Learn 20 shouts.
What race did you play as, and what was your go-to weapon?
Absolutely.
Combo?
So I actually only played one character in Skyrim. That's what I do with Bethesda games. I pick the character, I make it the way I want it, and then I never go back.
Wood Elf for the win!
Nord, actually. Went with a very balanced Nord. And definitely didn't quite use magic as much as I thought I would. Definitely used more of the sword route. Thought it was... I definitely would sneak around with a bow and a sword. And that was really what got me through those 400, 500 hours I easily put into this game.
Wow.
Join the College of Winterhold. Complete Revealing the Unseen. Complete the Eye of Magnus. Join the Dark Brotherhood. Complete... Yeah, this is way easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
it just looks like it's going to take a lot of time.
You're reading things that I've done in this game.
Yeah.
Michael has probably done these things in the infancy of his playing time.
That's crazy. I would have assumed that Skyrim is a huge... This just goes to show... Like, that's my takeaway from this game is this... Skyrim, aside from some, like, weird JRPGs like Final Fantasy, Skyrim is a dense, huge game.
Massive.
There is so much to do in that game, and that's what I'll remember going back.
Yep, so kudos to Bethesda hitting 2 of my top 3.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, here we go. Hardest/rarest achievements to get in Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Apparently the rarest achievement to get is taming 5 dragons.
Done it. You can do it with a shout. Yeah,
we're done! Drop the mic!
All right. Honorable mentions. I'd like to throw some things out there just real quick to see if anything was out there that didn't necessarily make it into the top 10. GTA 5.
Great game.
Of course.
Love GTA. They really nailed the formula there. I love Vice City and the whole 80s feel, but I really do think 5 was the best in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
Lego Star Wars and Lego Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Great games. Skyrim was on mine. Wind Waker. Probably the most underrated Zelda game.
Yeah.
Beautiful art style. Shovel Knight. Love Shovel Knight. I love retro classics and games that are new that remember the old. And
Super
Shovel Knight's
Mario
great.
World.
Yeah. Mario Kart 8, definitely on there. Arkham Knight on there. And Super Mario 3 is on my list.
all good games.
Well, that was a hell of a topic.
That went
was
on.
awesome.
That went on.
All right. Well, that was sure a long topic there, John. Thank you.
Gotcha.
In our small break there where we took a little breather, collected our thoughts, I think we are going to decide to table it here. We had an hour and a half long discussion roughly about the 10 favorite video games we each have, and we talked a little bit about the future. Some great stuff in there. But thank you all very much for listening to this episode of Radiovania After Dark. As always, you can get in touch with us on Twitter, and you can tweet me at Zach Rotello. You can tweet John at @DatJohnParker. You can email us your questions, topic ideas, or anything you want to hear us talk about at radiovaniashow@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all the other social media networks. And if you wouldn't mind, go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review and a rating. That would really help us get the word out to more people that want to listen to the show. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, John. Had a good night, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been real.
Talk about Batman. Talk about...
I like talking about Batman. I talk about Batman all the time.
All right. That's going to do it for us on Radiovania. Have a good one, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.